Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Grid Engine Podcast, Casting Out. We have another guest lined up for you guys. This guy. But first, allow me to introduce my co-host, Noah, the high schooler.
Nice. Allow me to introduce my co-host, Simon, ribbed for your pleasure.
That's me. And here with us, we have our best pal, Eric, the Oswald.
What's up, everybody?
Eric's here, and we're gonna talk about some bangers today. You know, I got a good old topic lined up, but before that, we do have to touch base on who our two sponsors are. So today we have two sponsors for the podcast. One of which is the Billionaire Razors Association. We will hear more from them later.
Our second sponsor is Gronads. We will hear more from them later as well.
Very good. Okay. Today we're going to talk about more nostalgia. We got more nostalgia locked in
the bag.
Wow. We're going to talk about, because I know we're all gamers. And gamers like to talk about games.
No, you don't say.
We're going to go ahead and talk about gaming. When we were little.
Okay, there you go.
Nostalgic games from when we were younger. And that may lead us into what we play today. I honestly wanted to start the conversation off because I haven't talked to Eric about this for a while. What are you playing today? Like these days, what do you play, man?
So it's funny. I am actually going back. So I'm a 95 kid. So I grew up basically with an N64 controller. I was born holding that along with my binky.
Popped out the pussy with an N64 controller.
That's pretty sick. That pop filter is really helping you with that pussy.
So I play on NSO right now. So I'm playing most of the stuff on there right now.
What is NSO?
Nintendo Switch Online. So they have three different. They have NES, Super Nintendo.
Oh, yeah, those like streaming things you get for having the subscription service. Okay, yeah, I've played that.
It's not an excuse for them to not put games to buy off the eShop like they used to for the
What was it called? It was called
Throwback Corner.
Virtual something.
Virtual Console.
Virtual console.
I prefer the Wii U.
So
the Wii U had Virtual Console.
In fact, I am currently the Wii U eShop shuts down March.
Oh fuck! I need to get on there and buy a bunch of fucking old.
I've
games.
been buying hella games on there.
They're cheaper on eBay, right? Or are they like dirt cheap on?
No.
Oh, really?
The price of old nostalgic games has gone up recently.
It's like it's
Even for Wii U though.
Well, it's because you got to keep in mind that now there's so many emulators and virtual console and streaming services that offer these games that the only people who want the original copies are collectors. And when something becomes a collector's items or only becomes ideal for collectors, they get really fucking expensive.
Yeah, that's true. That shit becomes ridiculous.
A copy, like a case, game, and booklet copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee for the GameCube costs like $90 or more.
To be fair, Super Smash Bros. Is like the most iconic and still most played game from the GameCube. So that kind of makes sense. I'm pretty sure if you found like some podunk game, like one of the knockoff, like, I don't know, something nobody would know about that came out.
Sarge's War.
Okay. Yeah, that one. Was that Toy Story?
No, it's made by 3DO. It's the old Army Men games. I don't know if you guys ever played those.
I thought those were associated with Toy Story.
No. It's like its own series. It's not.
But it is like Toy Soldiers.
Yeah, it's all.
Yeah, okay.
It's like the green versus tan army stuff. There's a bunch of games.
It's red versus blue before red versus blue.
Oh, damn, bro.
With yeah. Actually, now that you mentioned it, it basically is.
No, yeah, but like, because I bought, talking about like old games being expensive, I bought an opened, just like the cartridge by itself, no box, no booklet, just a cartridge of the limited edition of Ocarina of Time for the N64, the one where the cartridge was gold.
Wasn't the limited edition more common?
No. You're thinking about something else. For Ocarina of Time, the cartridge was gray, and they released a limited edition, and there was nothing different about the game. The only thing that was different was the cartridge was gold. And that cartridge cost me like $65.
Oh.
$65, $70.
That's still cheaper than modern games.
Well,
as of recently.
Well, and then and then I also got a regular cartridge of Ocarina of Time, and that one only cost me like $50. So it was like a $15 upcharge just for a gold cartridge.
Weren't you telling me about some N64 game where the gold cartridge was more common?
NES. The original Legend of Zelda for the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Okay.
The gold cartridge is more common than the gray, and I have a gray cartridge of the original Legend of Zelda.
It's probably worth like
and
$70 now.
And that's the more rare one. So that's the one where the gold one's more common.
Okay. Well, kind of covered that. I'm going to take us way back to my first experience. My first console was the PS1.
You were a Sony kid.
I still am, through and through. I think the first game I ever played was either Crash Team Racing or Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. And those two games still to this day hold up. The remasters are absolutely awesome. I love them so much.
CTR is amazing.
Yeah, that's a great game. I did play that.
So when I was a little
It's the
kid,
Mario Kart killer. If they would have made more, they probably would have done really well.
I don't
Except what? Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Don't mean to interrupt. I say if they would have made more, but they did, and they sucked, and that's why they stopped. I forgot about the other CTRs. I think there are two.
There was one for the GameCube, Nitro something.
Well, they made two kart racers. One was Nitro fueled, which was for PS2, and I think GameCube.
And GameCube.
And
I had that one growing up. That
just
one
wasn't.
sucked.
The controls were not as good. And then they made another one. I don't remember the name of it.
Tag Team Racing.
Yeah, Tag Team Racing. That was like a 3D platformer along with a kind of racing game, but it was broken because you could combine carts with anybody you wanted. And if you combined with engine, you just won because Homeboy had homing missiles.
Yep.
And it was over. No one could ever pass you.
Yep.
And that game was just broken. I remember buying it. I was like, oh, they made another kart racer? That's crazy. And even as a little kid, I was like, something's wrong about this. It sucks.
Tag Team Racing was had a very, very amazing feature, though, that I have not seen replicated in any game. During the loading screens, you could press buttons and make him fart and burp.
I remember that. That was funny to me. Still is now.
Still is.
Well, there's something wrong with your game when the funnest part is the
loading
pause menu
screen
instead of actually playing the game.
Yeah. So that was my first introduction. So we'll go this way. What was your very first introduction to any kind of video game?
It's hard to say what my first one is because I played it like probably when I was like 1 or 2.
Let me started early.
Well, so my brother, he's 11 years older than me, and so he had stuff. So I think he had an N64, and I think PS1 because I remember playing some PS1 games.
What did you play? Spyro? Crash?
Yeah, I played Spyro, Final Fantasy 7, CTR.
Okay.
The old Buzz Lightyear game from
Yes.
That one's really good.
dude. That game
Fucking
is
love
so
that game.
good. So I have a PS1 in my basement, and I need to get it up and running because I have a copy of that Buzz Lightyear game, and I want to replay it. But my main experience was definitely N64. I mean, I played at least 20 different. Like we had a bunch of games. Like I mean, all the heavy hitters. Ocarina of Time, Mario 64, Majora's Mask, and more like mid-tier games. Like I don't know if you guys ever played like Turok, the Army Men games.
Turok
Dinosaur Hunter
didn't age well. I've seen YouTube channels play it recently on PC, and it's a piece of shit now. But I'm sure then it was like dinosaurs with guns. Let's go.
It was pretty cool. Yeah. The newer games are terrible, but the first couple games are, for what they were, I mean, they're pretty good. I mean, they haven't aged as well as other stuff like Mario 64. Well, everyone says so of all the big games from the N64, the only one I really hadn't played was Banjo and Mario Kart 64.
You didn't play Mario Kart 64?
I didn't have a lot of people to play with a lot except my brother.
Yeah.
And we didn't have Mario Kart. I mean, we played GoldenEye with his friends and
GoldenEye's good.
coming out on NSO early next year. Very excited
Hell
for
yeah.
that. First,
I wonder if the Switch can run it any better than the N64 did. Probably not. 3 frames per second, shooting your friends.
Actually, so the one of the recent games they put on there was Pilot Wings, which was a launch title for N64. It used to on original console, it used to be pretty bad, but for some reason, Pilot Wings of all games, Nintendo decided to increase the performance, and now it runs at a clean 60 frames
Really?
on
Is it
NSO.
fun now?
I mean, I didn't play it, and I feel like you have to really have nostalgia to play that game. 'Cause
Oh,
I
that makes
messed
sense.
around with it, and it was like, oh, it's cool. I mean, it runs nice, but
Right.
like I don't really. It's kind of I don't like simulator type games.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It was probably a simulator, probably one of the first simulators ever. And it was meant to like show off the capabilities of the N64, and then it really didn't.
Didn't the N64 only have 2 launch titles, Pilot Wings and Mario 64?
yeah.
Sounds like the PS5. You guys want a bunch of remakes and also
Astro's Playworld.
Okay,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can't say it's just a remake because it went from 2D to 3D, which was its own. Like everything
Yeah.
on the N64 was a technical marvel, you know, at the time.
well, Mario 64 is still one of my favorite games. Like playing it remastered on the Switch.
Do you have
It's
the
so
All Stars collection?
Yeah.
I have
It's
the
so
All-Stars
much
collection.
fucking fun.
I'm going to say something that's going to piss both of you off. I can't fucking stand Mario 64.
Really?
The camera sucks. I really wish they would have fixed that.
I hate it. I think hate's a strong word, but I cannot play it through. Every time I play it, I just get fucking fed up, and I'm just like, fuck this. I will play
What do you get fed up with?
Yeah,
The
but
camera?
the camera, the way it feels to control it, and it's stuff like that. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, dude, Mario 64 is the best controls ever." I don't know what it is, just something feels off when I play it.
It's not very well tuned,
And
as far as games go.
And I think also part of it is that I have no nostalgia for it. I grew up
Yeah.
playing Zelda, not Mario.
Right. See, Mario 64, I'm sure for you is a big deal because you grew up on the N64, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a big deal for me because that was the most impressive game on my DS Lite.
Oh,
the DS version.
Mario 64 DS.
When they ported that, that was like the first game I got because I had seen other people playing it. I wanted it so dang bad. And
I think it was a
for
launch
the-
title too.
Yeah, for the DS Lite, that shit slapped. You know what I mean? Like, I absolutely love that game. It's terrific on the DS. And so now when I play it, I'm able to look past the camera, even though when you re-release a game with a broken-ass camera, just fucking fix the camera. The next 2 games in the All-Stars collection have cameras that are just fine. Why not just fix it? You're not breaking my immersion by not fixing the bum-ass camera.
I think there are a lot of people, and I'm kind of guilty of this, of like they want the experience to be the exact same as like,
Just play it on the OG console then.
yeah, but a lot of people don't have like, you know, and they don't have it and they don't want to track down all this stuff. Now, look, I'm someone who's willing, like I went and bought a CRT at a yard sale and like I want to build up that retro because I like playing stuff on original hardware. People who want to play older games however they want, it's fine. I mean, I have Mario 64 on pretty much every single conceivable like I have it on Wii Virtual Console, I have it at Wii U Virtual Console, I have it on DS. I need to get my N64 cartridge back. I need.
Yeah.
I'll
I
pay
have
you.
that. If you want it back, I can give it to you.
I can pay you back for those games. And
Actually, so here's
Switch.
the thing about your N64 because I
You broke it, huh?
I didn't break it.
Oh, it is broken though.
yeah,
Don't worry
is-
about it. It's broken.
It is broken.
So he sold it to my older brother. And then when I
Greatest
moved,
mistake I ever made.
yeah, and then when I moved out, I took it. And it kind of sat in a box for a while, but then I was like, "You know what? I want to bust it out. I want to play some OG because I'm like that too. When I play old games, I like to play it on the original hardware. Mm-hmm. I have a fuck ton of NES and Super NES games, and I have a Super NES and I have an N64. I just don't have an NES yet. But so your N64, I busted it out, and I busted out your copy of Ocarina of Time because I have your copy of Ocarina of Time and Mario 64. I plugged it in, and the account was on the water temple. So I was just like, okay, let's see where he's at. And I played for 5 minutes, and then the game crashed.
Oh no.
And I was like, what the fuck? So I tried reloading it, and it kept crashing within 5 to 10 minutes of playing it. So I bought a new copy of Ocarina of Time.
The gold one?
The gold one, and then Amanda bought a regular one because the gold one I bought for collector's purposes, and then the gray one I bought to play. But then I played it, and it still crashed. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Then I bought a copy of Majora's Mask. And Majora's Mask wouldn't crash as long as after doing a single quest, I would play the Song of Time and save and reset the 3 days. If I tried to do more than one quest within a set of 3 days, the game would crash. So
weird.
I think, obviously I'm not technical enough to know, but I think it's an issue with like the memory storage in the console. It just can't hold enough, like it can't hold enough immediate memory like the RAM to be able to store enough to where when you're doing a bunch of shit, it keeps going. And that would explain why Ocarina of Time keeps crashing, because there's no resetting in Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
You need some DDR5 in that bitch.
But anyways, but if you want your copy of Ocarina of Time and shit like that back, I can give it to you because I have my own now.
Your own N64?
Not my own N64, but my own copy of the games. If you want the N64, you can have it back, but it doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
I'm planning to get a new one anyways.
Well, if you're planning, I mean, I'll take it if because I'll mess around with it and see if I
Maybe
can
see if you can fix it.
restore it.
Or you could just buy a 3DS and play the superior version of the games.
So I have
The Majora's Mask version actually isn't superior. They changed the
No.
fuck out of it and made it way easier.
It's way better because the graphics in 3D.
okay. I've seen. So I have 3DS copies for both games, but
Then why are you bitching?
well, I haven't gotten around to playing those. So my brother got me. So for Switch, they sell controllers for each of their virtual console services. So there's NES controller,
that's cool.
SNES, and now they have N64. Now those are scalped like crazy. So
Really?
my brother,
That doesn't surprise me.
he, God bless him, he got one and he gave it to me for my birthday
that's
last year.
nice.
But I mean, he paid scalper price. I'm like, dude, you should not reward.
What is scalper price on one of those?
$100?
What is normal price?
Fucking
50.
Oh,
Doubled it. That's
That's
fucking
that's not even as bad as
outrageous.
PS5.
No.
Yeah. And so I'm playing through some other like more niche titles like Win Back and other stuff on N64, but I want to play Ocarina of Time with the original N64 controller, and then I'm going to play the remake on the 3DS because I have the copy.
Cool.
But yeah,
Ocarina of Time, that was the one I played on the DS. I liked that game. I
Ocarina
played more of
Time-
it. I didn't play much, but I enjoyed it.
You're good. Ocarina of Time on the 3DS, they didn't change much, but when they ported Majora's Mask to the 3DS, they made it significantly easier and they changed a bunch of shit.
Wasn't it notoriously hard, though?
If you're a bitch,
If you're not a real gamer, is that what you're saying?
my wife beat it on the GameCube, and I got like.
So is the precedent that if a woman can beat it, a man should
That
be able
is
to beat
not
it?
what I'm fucking
Interesting.
saying, you
okay,
fucking
that's
asshole.
weird. It's just the way you said it. You were like, "My wife beat it," and I was
Okay,
like,
but she didn't grow. She didn't grow up playing video games.
"Oh, that's true."
She
Yeah.
didn't really get into video games until like 2 years ago.
Right.
the 3-day cycle of Majora's Mask is like it is an advanced kind of mechanically it is more
I
difficult.
don't think there's another game that did that. The game ends after 3 days if you don't play the Song of Time, right?
Yep.
And so that's just a really interesting mechanic, you know?
Yeah, I don't think there's
You know?
anything that's come quite close to like. See, when I was a kid, like I didn't really know how to play, but like I would play on my older brother's account, and he's done everything, so I had access to all the areas. But like the 3 days would go, and I would just die. And I'm like, well, I guess I'll just start over and run around and play because I didn't know like how to progress or
You didn't comprehend
mechanics, you know. Then I was an adult or older and playing. I'm like, oh, this is really good actually.
No, yeah, I think the system is actually really cool, but a lot of people fucking hated it when it came out.
And the 3DS remakes, like, it doesn't change. Like the base of the game is not changed anyway. It's just minor mechanics they change, like the swimming as a Zora, or like how you approach boss fights.
The
Like,
boss fights were all entirely changed.
yeah. Now I forget it. You can damage with any weapon in the original, and you can only do it with the sword in the new one, or is it reversed?
So in the original, you could basically take on. So the first boss in the original, you could fight however you wanted. Hitting him with anything did damage.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was just he had a certain amount of health, and you had to get his health to 0 to win. in the 3DS remake, they made it to where you had to like knock him over, turn into a Deku Scrub, get in a flower, pop up and hover, and then he had an eye on his back, and then you had to drop a Deku Nut onto his eye to damage him.
Okay, now we're going to hear from our first sponsor, baby. We're going to go ahead and do BillionaireRazorsAssociation.com. So, contrary to popular belief, you should not be paying a small price for a package of razors, shaving cream, hygiene needs. You should not be paying a small price for that. That stuff is important, right? If I'm shaving and I'm using, say, a razor that I got from an affiliate link with a YouTuber, it's going to leave hella razor bumps, right? So what I'm going to need is something from the Billionaire Razors Association. Now, for the low price of course, you know, it's in the name, $1 billion, you can join this club. These men are clean shaven all day, every day. And the razors are actually, they have a laser that actually does burn the hair off. I've seen concepts for this and stuff. These guys have it. Comes in a kit. You don't need shaving cream because the fucker's a laser. It's sick. And you don't need any kind of guard or lube or anything for your fucking face because it's a laser. It should be called the Billionaire Lasers Association, honestly. Now, for $1 billion, you can join this association and once a month get an awesome package with a laser razor, baby. And yeah, with our affiliate link, you can now only have to pay $800 million.
Save 20%.
Yeah, that's a 20%
Yeah,
discount.
dude.
That's
20%
great.
discount.
So any of you listeners that have $800 million and you want a laser razor and you want to be part of a super cool club that is not in any way associated with Andrew Tate, you can do it with the link provided. That is code Grid Engine to get your $800 million club today.
Association.
That one. All right. Now, back to the show. Noah,
Yes.
hit me with that boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom, boom.
Very good. What
know-
was the first game you ever played?
So, when I was really little, I had a Nintendo 64. And I don't remember what games I had on it besides Toy Story 2. It was like Buzz Lightyear, Toy Story 2, To Infinity and Beyond, or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the only game I remember having on it. But then randomly, my parents sold it in a yard sale. And it just disappeared.
The game or the console?
The console and all of the games.
Oh, what the fuck?
And then I remember after that getting a PlayStation 1 and having CTR, Crash Bandicoot 2, Cortex Strikes Back,
Not the best, but okay.
and Spyro 3, Year of the Dragon, and Spyro 2, Ripto's Rage.
Them shits slap.
They do. So those were the main games I played as a kid.
What about the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4
yeah.
Spyro demo where you ride a skateboard?
And I forgot I also had Tony Hawk Pro Skaters 3 and 4.
Very good.
Great game.
And those were the first couple games I played. And then my cousin Ian had a GameCube. And that's actually when I was introduced to Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and all those, because he had the Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition. But during this time period, I was playing video games, but I was too young and dumb to really understand what I was doing. So I would kind of just turn the game on and then run around and be like, I'm playing a video game. It wasn't until my older brother got a GameCube for Christmas, and he got Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. That was the first video game I played where I was actually like old enough to comprehend what I was doing and what was going on and what I was supposed to do. So those PlayStation 1 games were my first video games like ever, but Wind Waker was the first game that I played that I was actually like, oh, I'm playing a fucking video game and I understand what the fuck is going on.
Right. Yeah. That's a good starting point, honestly. Like, oh man.
Which is funny because because of that I fucking love Wind Waker. But I remember talking to some of your friends, Trevor, I think his name was. I remember him talking about how he fucking hated Wind Waker. He's like, dude, Wind Waker sucks, dude. It's all cartoony and shit. And I was like, Man, fuck
Wait,
off.
he was just complaining about the graphics?
A lot when Wind Waker first came out in 2002 in Japan and 2003 in North America,
Right.
people hated it because before it was Ocarina of Time, which was like the best graphics a game has ever had at that time.
Right.
And then the tech demo they showed at, I think it was called Space World at the time or whatever, that convention they had.
Right.
The tech demo they showed for their next Legend of Zelda game was basically like a more realistic looking, better graphics version of Ocarina of Time, with the same style, but like, and it like portrayed like a sword fight between Ganon and Link.
Right.
And then after that tech demo, when they finally had the Zelda game produced enough to actually show a trailer, it was Wind Waker. So people
they completely changed the art style and people shit the bed.
and people were fucking furious, and people didn't start appreciating Wind Waker until a long while after it came out.
You can't do that. You can't make a tech demo of something so different, because then people are they're gonna get hyped
They're
for
gonna
that.
get fucking pissed, and that's actually part of the reason why Twilight Princess is like overly realistic, is because of all the backlash they got from Wind Waker.
Oh,
because that came after, and it was like in response to the cell shaded of Wind Waker.
Yep.
Look, now see, Twilight Princess was my GameCube because this might be a hot take, but I think that Twilight Princess has the best cover art for like a game cart, like the case of all time. I think that like grayed out with like Link and then the wolf.
are you talking about the one on GameCube?
It was the same,
It's the same
across
on
all of them.
It was the
it?
same on Wii.
Oh,
and
I thought it
GameCube.
was different on.
Oh, you know
No,
what? Actually,
maybe-
I think it was different on. It was only different on Wii.
Yeah,
it was
that's
the
what I'm
same.
saying. I
on the
thought it was
game-
different on Wii because I had it on Wii, but I never had a GameCube.
No, so the cover for Wii U is different, but the Wii and GameCube is
No, you're right.
the cover is the same.
fucking-
The gameplay is different.
Didn't they? Sorry.
Well, no, go ahead.
They
go
added motion controls for Wii, right? A little bit.
So wasn't the case for the Wii version though like golded out or anything or something?
I
Or
think it was
exact-
gold. I'm pretty sure it was gold.
Like it was the same picture, but it was gold.
I seem to recall a gold case. That's all I remember.
I'm gonna look it up real quick, but
Can we get a comparison on screen right now? Editor, me.
no, it was faded out. Because look at these two pictures. The GameCube version had a lot more color and was more vibrant, while the Wii version was significantly faded out.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It was
Okay.
um
And I think part like that cover art, like that's what people wanted. Like growing up on Ocarina of Time, and they're like, that is what we're talking about. Like that's what we wanted.
what did you think about the wolf mechanics in Twilight Princess? Like actually playing as the wolf?
I was such a diehard Zelda fan that I suffered through the wolf. I did not like it. The searching for the tears of light
So
was a pain.
I actually kind of wanted to like ask that as a sec because there's the wolf. You can ask it based on the segments you play as a wolf and then the actual gameplay. Like when you were playing as a wolf and you were maneuvering and fighting things as a wolf, did you enjoy that alone? Like don't consider what you were like the actual segments and what you were like required to do that fetch quest. The actual physical gameplay of playing as a wolf. Did you enjoy that?
Only for the ability to, I think your traveling speed is different, is faster as a wolf. Other than that, not really. It's just
I
it's too
understand that.
one-dimensional. Like you hold the B for the big AoE, like the dash, and like that's like your only move. I mean, it's cool to lock on and jump and bite, but like that's all you can do. Whereas when you're human Link, you have a lot more. You have all the sword techniques. You have all your items. It just makes combat a lot more engaging.
I really like that because I agree with you on the completely on the segments of the wolf fucking searching for the like tears of light or whatever those bugs were. That fucking sucked.
3 times. I think it was 20. I think it might have been 20 tiers each.
In the Wii U
segment.
version, they cut it almost in half.
Oh, so I haven't played the Wii U version yet, but I hear that they did cut that quest.
Yeah. They cut them down significantly because they realized people hated them. Just like in the Wii U version of Wind Waker, they made the Triforce hunt significantly easier. Because in the original GameCube version, you had to find 8 Triforce charts, get them decoded, and then find all 8 shards. In the Wii U version, you have to find, you immediately just go to 6 shards, and you only have to decode 2 charts.
That's odd. It seems like Nintendo has a history of making a second generation of a game easier.
Sometimes it's easy with the problem with the Tears of Light and the Triforce shards. They weren't hard; they were just tedious, and they were significant, important parts of the game. So they couldn't just remove them. So they just made them more streamlined.
And there was nothing like you had a few hour block of time to play Zelda, and the entire time you played as a wolf, like, and you didn't even get to like play as like regular Link. And then Mom was like, "Oh, okay, well, games are over." I'm like, "Man, I didn't even finish this."
Oh, you had game time too?
I grew up
yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
20-minute turns.
That's funny because I had 30-minute. My mom just called it game time or screen time. Mm-hmm. I failed to mention one of my actual first games aside from the PS1. Now I know you're familiar with one of these. We had some games on computer. Old ass Windows Vista tower. I would play Backyard Baseball 2001. Mm-hmm. Fucking love that game to this day. My dad still plays it too. The other one was Lego Racers.
Oh,
The
that
first
game's
one.
fucking amazing.
Yes, Lego Racers, one of the best Lego games.
I forgot to mention
Ever.
that in my collection of PS1 games. That was one of them I had.
I played it on computer, and I played it with a flight stick because that's the only controller we had, and playing it on computer sucked.
Yeah.
It was a Logitech. They've been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Still have the flight stick. Still play with it when I play Lego Racers.
And it creaks every
It
time
creaks.
you turn it.
Yeah, it creaks like crazy. So yeah, Lego Racers, that was a big one. Lego Rock Raiders.
I
don't know.
never played that.
It wasn't worth it. It's a shitty game. And then Lego, was it Alpha Troopers or Alpha Team? I don't know. There was some like spy game that was kind of lame. Never played Lego Island, which was a big one.
Neither did I.
Yeah, but Lego Racers, that was like my shit other than the PS1. And I never had it on the PS1 until recently. Yeah, so how about we move on now to our second generation console experience? Whatever
Second-
our
what do you mean?
second console was and the experiences we had on that. Because mine was the Wii. I went from PS1 to Wii. And obviously Wii Sports Resort was a big one. I love that game still. Any of the Lego games on there were pretty good back then, like Lego Star Wars on there. That was great.
Oh, the fucking Complete Saga. That shit was banging.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
best. I think that's the best Lego game.
Probably.
Complete
That one,
Saga, hands down.
yeah. Lego Indiana Jones was okay. Not too
I
bad.
never really got into that one.
It was harder to get into after Star Wars, yeah. And then I played a little bit of Twilight Princess, played the fuck out of Mario Kart Wii.
Mario
And
Kart
then-
Wii was broken as fuck.
Same with Smash Bros. Brawl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Subspace Emissaries goaded. So good.
Yes, I do have to agree with that.
So, Eric, what was your second? Well, I think we've already touched on your second console because you went from N64 to GameCube.
Yeah.
What was your third?
So I had a Wii. The Wii was my I was basically a Nintendo almost all the way until my brother got me a 360, but we can go over that later. But yeah, Wii, dude, the Wii is so like my grandparents had a Wii.
Everyone had a fucking Wii, dude.
My grandparents still have a Wii.
It would be if you went to someone's house and they didn't have a Wii in their house. It was fucking surprising.
Seriously, yeah.
And it didn't do anything crazy. Like there was like a news channel and the weather channel.
Okay, but
it
the fucking Me channel, excuse you,
Oh, okay, but why would my grandparents care about the B channel?
because they can make all their grandkids and then they don't have to wait until Christmas to
True.
see them.
It's true.
See, I made my grandparents in the Me channel, and then we would just play Wii. Like, there was a time, like every weekend, I would go out to lunch with my grandparents as a teenager, and then I'd come home or to their house, and we'd play Wii Sports. Me and my grandpa
Hell
would play
yeah.
a bunch of Wii golf.
Oh, golf.
That was his favorite.
My family's thing was bowling.
And
Yeah.
bowling. Bowling was my immediate family. We
My
loved
grandma was the only person in the entire extended family that had the fancy bowling ball because of how much she played.
God,
You know how like
bro.
once you
Yeah.
reach like level
Yeah, it's
1,000,
all,
you
like,
get
sparkly.
a better ball. She was the only one that had it. It was so funny, and she actually cared about Wii Fitness, the one where it gives you an age.
Yeah.
her age was always down to like 18 because she was so good at all the sports. She did it every day religiously.
That's fucking
It was,
hilarious.
and I was pissed because I was like a gamer and I couldn't beat her. She was so freaking good at that stupid game.
That's hilarious.
Me and there were like probably a year, 6 months ago, me and Danny played we played a bunch of Wii Fit. Like The balance games are really fun. Like,
Oh yeah, Wii Fit was fun,
yeah.
and the Wii Fit board was like, I'm pretty sure the stats on it are like that is the most highly purchased, like external device for a console ever. Like it beats out anything else. Anything else.
I believe it.
Probably even the PS1 like L-shaped like 4-player thing.
Yep.
It beats that out too. And it's like, holy crap.
And the thing is that it only worked on Wii Fit and then like other like third party weird. So the fact that really, I would say 95% of those sales was just for Wii Fit or
Yeah.
Wii Fit Plus. It's amazing.
Well, it's obvious the game was so big because Smash Brothers got Wii Fit Trainer as a playable character. You know that game slapped and sold hella units if they made it a fucking playable character.
For real.
Yeah, so I would say Wii Sports.
Did you play Wii Sports Resort?
Oh yeah, we had Wii
Did
Sports,
you-
Wii Play, but it was
Mario
mostly
Galaxy?
Resort. This is one of my bigger gaming regrets. I did have it, and I played the first third of the game, and then I got rid of it because I was such a Mario Sunshine lover,
Oh,
and so I never finished Galaxy. So I'm actually playing through it right now on the All Stars collection.
It's an amazing
Yeah.
game.
It's really good.
it is.
It's amazing.
I
Fucking
feel
love
like it was kind of the underdog because 64 and then Sunshine got like center stage. And then we came to Galaxy 1 and 2. Did they make a 3? Was
Nope.
there a 3?
It was just 1 and 2.
They made 1 and 2 and they slapped. They are definite all-stars in the set of 3D Mario games, but
Oh, yeah.
nobody really remembers them very much. A lot of people just didn't play them, which is kind of sad.
Well, because the Wii had there were so many hit titles that, it just kind of got. Whereas the GameCube and N64, like the library isn't as expansive with good games, whereas the
Yeah.
Wii had so many.
I think that's part of the reason so many Wii's sold is because it had a long run before the Wii U came out, but also the games were so good. Very few consoles, like even PS3 and Xbox 360, like the heyday of having good titles for games and like new series of games that come out being amazing and stuff. Very few have as many incredible titles as the Wii did.
Yeah. The Wii was just had shit everywhere.
I know, like you just look at the roster from Smash Brothers Brawl versus PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale. They were scraping the bottom of the barrel from games I had never heard of for PlayStation All Stars, and it was like, where are these guys from? This isn't even a PlayStation exclusive? Like they had
Yeah.
like Heihachi from Street Fighter or whatever. That's on every console. How the fuck are you gonna claim him? It was just kind of goofy.
Yeah.
What about you?
My second console was the GameCube. I moved on from the PS1 to the GameCube. I played a lot of Wind Waker, Mario Kart Double Dash, Lego Star Wars, the first one, and then Mario Sunshine. I fucking love Mario Sunshine. It's like one of my all-time favorite Mario games. Oh, Luigi's Mansion. How the fuck did I forget Luigi's Mansion?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
My two favorite video games of all time. Number 1 is Wind Waker, and number 2 is Luigi's Mansion. I have played Wind Waker and beaten it a total of 17 times, and I've played through and beaten Luigi's Mansion a total of 11.
Right.
And the GameCube had a fuck ton of just home run fucking titles, and because like I said, Wind Waker, Mario Sunshine, Twilight Princess originally came out on the GameCube.
Yeah.
There was I know they weren't great, but there was the Nitro Fueled and then Tag Team Racing were also on the GameCube, and as much as they weren't great, they were still fun to play.
Yeah. It was a big deal for Nintendo guys because they would watch PlayStation and be like, "Oh, Crash Bandicoot, that's sick. Why can't I
Exactly.
have that?" And then they got it, and it was
And then there was also the Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition, which had the original 2 Zelda games from the NES and then Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. And that was actually how I originally played them. I played them on my GameCube on the Collector's Edition.
yeah.
I remember I lost a bidding war on eBay to get the game, and then I cried myself to sleep that night.
Aw.
And then the next day I bought it.
I have a funny story that I'll tell you after this message from our sponsors.
A message from our sponsors.
Will you please let us know about Gronads, my guy.
Okay, our second sponsor is Gronads. Now, you see all these companies marketing and advertising their products to get rid of your hair in your special treasure zone. But what if you don't want your treasure zone to be barren? Where is the best treasure hidden?
In the thicket.
In the thicket. Whenever think about, we're talking about video games, Legend of Zelda, the Master Sword in Twilight Princess is found in a dense forest. So don't you want your Master Sword to be found in a dense forest?
Very good. I do. What do I do?
You use Gronads. Gronads is a product. It's a lotion that you rub in your treasure zone.
Right.
And it enhances the hair follicles to make your pubic hair grow longer, thicker, fuller, and faster.
So is it kind of like beard oil, but for your nether region?
Exactly.
Dude, that's sick.
But it actually works.
Wow. Imagine that.
So if you want to enhance the look of your Master Sword, go to www.gronads.com/gridengine and use code gridengine to get 25% off your order of Gronads lotion.
Let's go, baby. All right.
Thank you
Getting
to
back-
Gronads for sponsoring this video.
Thank
Hell
you
yeah.
for Gronads.
Thank you, Gronads. We appreciate y'all. All right. What did you think? I want your hot take, baby.
Okay.
Luigi's Mansion 2
Fuck.
and 3.
Okay.
What are your opinions?
2.
Because I know you said your second favorite game ever is Luigi Mansion 1.
Luigi's Mansion 2 can eat my ass.
That was the one on DS, right?
Yeah, it was the one on the 3DS. I fucking hated it because the thing that was so cool about Luigi's Mansion, the first one, is even though technically, if you look at it, it is a level system because you have to progress a certain way and you have the different zones and stuff like that. They did it in a way that felt fluid and felt like you were playing an adventure game. It didn't feel like a level system. Luigi's Mansion 2, they went right back to the original, like, New Super Mario Bros. Level format, where it was like worlds and you went in the worlds and then it was fucking levels and shit like that. It still had essentially the same gameplay of Luigi's Mansion, but it like I couldn't get behind the flashlight mechanic, how the flashlight was always on and you had to use that rainbow shit. I fucking hated that. And then also the level system, I just could not get past it. It just infuriated me.
That could have been the
Limitations of the console.
yeah, limitations of the console is what I was going to say. Like, it just...
They put Ocarina of Time on there,
I was
dude.
going to say,
And then
I
they
don't
also
buy
they
system
eventually
limitations.
they also put Luigi's Mansion on the 3DS. They
first one?
they ported the first one to the 3DS.
Oh, so we know it's capable. It
Yeah.
they
Just
chose
didn't
a-
do it. They just
a
chose to do
strict
some
level
fuck
design.
shit. Yeah.
That's so dumb. Also, like, I don't know. The 3DS, it had so many cool ideas, but then it just kind of flopped. Just like the PS Vita.
Dude, the PS Vita was amazing. I'm kind of pissed
Yeah.
that it flopped. It had such potential,
Mm-hmm.
but they kept on just making basic ass bare bone games for it.
Yeah.
And there was no console seller.
Yeah.
There was no game that was a console seller for it.
Yeah. We will get to handhelds in the next episode. But no, I want your take on Luigi's Mansion 3.
So Luigi's Mansion 3, I never edited and posted it, but I filmed an entire review for that game after I played it. But I never edited it and posted it. I had a whole script written out. I fucking sat in front of my green screen and I talked about it. It was a mixed bag because
Okay.
Luigi's Mansion 3 in the very beginning of the game, it is insultingly hand-holding.
Hold on.
it-
Pretend I'm Nintendo. If I paid you, would you change your review score?
No.
Shoot. I guess you're not IGN.
So in the beginning of the game, it is painfully hand-holding. It treats you like you're a 3-year-old who is holding a controller for the very first time.
What if you are?
And it goes on for too long.
Oh.
Like,
Okay.
so there's this like
Like
little...
how many minutes?
I couldn't give you an
Like an
exact
hour?
number. It's been a while. I'm pretty sure it was the first like 2 hours of the game.
Oh, out of how many?
The game, if I remember correctly, took me roughly 6 to 8. And
That's like a good 25 to 30.
yeah, the first 2 hours of the game were extremely hand-holding. The best example I can give you of how hand-holding it was, and this is exactly what I said in my review. Like to get to like the first big zone or first boss, I can't remember exactly. You walk in this hallway, and it is just a long hallway with nothing in it except for at the end there is a huge blue door with gold handles and gold rimming. And when you walk down that hallway and see a giant fucking door with gold handles, your brain should go, "Oh, I'm going to walk to that door. It's the only thing in this hallway." But that's not enough. When you enter the hallway and take a couple steps, a cutscene starts. And this little ghost dog comes out and like jumps at you and barks at you,
Okay.
and then it takes like 30 seconds to force you to watch this dog trot all the way down the hall and then hop through the door, and then it zooms back out to your character and lets you take control
To go to the door.
to go to the door.
Oh, that's pretty bad.
It literally had to be like, "All right, follow the puppy. He's walking down the hall."
Were there any
and
doors
then
to the right and left
Nope.
that were like locked?
Nope.
It was just a damn
It was
hall?
an empty hallway with one set of doors that was unlocked.
What a waste of space.
Exactly.
They could have added another Luigi skin.
And so it was way too hand-holding in the beginning, and it went on for too long. And then the other thing that I have frustration with it is Gooigi. Gooigi was a really cool and interesting idea, and there was a couple parts in which it was actually used well, but it was only like once or twice. Most of the fucking puzzles that you had to use Gooigi for was you walked in a room with 2 buttons and a door. I wonder what I have to do. I guess I'll stand on one button as Luigi and another as Gooigi. Or it's like 2 ropes and you have to pull both of them.
Oh.
The only time Gooigi was actually used in an actually fun way was you fell and into this like little prison cell.
Right.
And Gooigi could walk through bars, and then one of the walls spikes come out and it starts slowly closing on you.
Okay.
And then ghosts start appearing outside the cell. So you have to turn into Gooigi, leave the cell, and fight the ghosts, and open the cell from the outside before the spikes crush Luigi.
Okay.
That was a cool and fun, intense way to use Gooigi, but it
Right.
only happens like once.
Oh.
So
Was it like at the end of the game, probably?
it was about roughly halfway through.
Oh. Okay.
So the game did have its moments, and the gameplay was Luigi's Mansion gameplay, and I do enjoy that type of gameplay. So
Right.
I did have fun playing it.
Yeah.
There was just so much shit surrounding it that if I had to give it a score out of 10, it would probably be like a 6.5.
Oh. Okay. All right. Interesting. It sucks to see like a title that,
Amazing
prolific
go down that route, 'cause-
just kind of fall off, especially when like Luigi's Mansion 3 was like a big deal on Switch. They were like, we're
was.
making another one. It's not on a portable. You're going to fucking love this shit. And
And
then,
it looks nice.
It
Like,
looks
it's
amazing.
One of the
Right,
best looking
yeah.
games.
but you have to know at that point, Luigi's Mansion 3, people who were around for the first one are going to play it. You can't hold their hand that long. Maybe they could separate it by like giving you a difficulty selection like Resident Evil, but they don't.
Nope, they don't.
It
at
was
all.
just one difficulty fits all.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was really sad because, like, if I had to give the first Luigi's Mansion a rating, I would probably give it a 9 out of 10. The only reason I say I'd give it a 9 is because it was a brand new entry in the series and they didn't really have it fully realized and polished, so there definitely were some issues. And there are some tedious parts. But for the most part, it's just a fun new game.
So I've only played the original one, and I really like the original. You can definitely, because it was the launch title for GameCube, and you can definitely tell there are some tech demo aspects to the game. Like every time you open a new door, it shows like his hand, like
Yeah,
open-
his hand shaking towards it, and like, yeah.
when I was a kid, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, like because I hadn't seen anything like that. But then as an adult playing through, like every time
It's
you
so
open
fucking
it, I'm like,
tedious.
oh, okay, okay, because when you're kids, you don't really think of like how technology changes and what they're wanting to show. Like, oh, it's a new game, I want to play a new game.
Yeah.
But now as an adult and seeing as new generations come out, and it's like, oh, what can it do? And now we're going back and playing. It's like, oh wow, so they really wanted to show this off when I was a
How
kid.
many polygons his hands had.
Exactly.
And I think that's why I would say it gets only a 9 out of 10. Is
Yeah.
because it was a new game on a new console that they'd never done before, so there were definitely some hiccups and some bumps they hadn't worked out,
Yeah.
but it was still an amazing game.
And some of the puzzles are, even as an adult, like trying to figure out how to find the heart of the ghosts and it's like, I'm not asking for quest markers or like tell me what to do, but like some of it is really cryptic of like, what you have
Yeah.
to. I'm like no shame. I had to look up a couple of like, okay, how do I get this to work? Because I've interacted with everything in the room. Nothing's happening. Like there's one where you have to like turn off the flashlight, look the other way, and you have to wait like 15 seconds
No,
for
I know.
something. I'm like, how am I supposed
That's
to
the
know that?
I think that's the dad. That's like the first mini boss.
I thought it was the
You have to turn off your flashlight and look away, and he'll appear and wait for him to yawn.
yeah, okay, there's that. There's another one where I I want to say it's the gourmet one, but I that could be wrong. I just remember there was one like I waited forever, and it's like I would have had to wait forever if I hadn't looked it up because I was like, I've interacted with every single thing in this room. I
Yeah.
am not sure what I'm supposed to do. So there are a couple hiccups of like, okay, there's the difference between hand holding and it's like, okay, you can't let nothing happen for a set amount of time. So
Yeah, it's you can't it's a very hard balance to strike because you don't want to hold the player's hand, but you also don't want to not give them anything.
yeah,
They need to feel like they figured it out, but also you can't if there's nothing to figure out, it's just frustrating.
yeah,
Interesting thing though about Luigi's Mansion, the first time I played it was actually at your house.
really,
Yeah, I was hanging out with your brother, and it was funny because you were playing Luigi's Mansion, and I was like, dude, that's fucking sick.
oh wow,
And then like the next couple times I came over, all I wanted to do was play Luigi's Mansion. And he was like, dude, can we do something else? I was like, no, I'll play Luigi's Mansion.
That's funny.
And my parents didn't like it because it was ghosts. So I made a new friend at school, and my parents didn't really know him or know his parents, so they didn't talk. So I just told him I wanted Luigi's Mansion because he was a new friend,
Ah,
and I invited him to my birthday party.
nice.
And then I was like, my parents don't know him well enough to like tell his to like tell him off. So
Right.
I'll just tell this kid I want it, and he got it. And my parents let me keep it.
Dude, let's fucking go.
nice.
What a goated move. To close this podcast out, we're going to go ahead and talk on our all-time favorite games. I know you already listed yours.
I
your
could
two.
go on about him more.
Right, but I want me and Eric to have a chance to list our top 3 games from the specific consoles we've spoken on. We'll start with Noah because you just have slot number 3. But number 1 was Wind Waker. Number 2 was
Number
Luigi's
one is
Mansion.
Wind Waker. Number 2 is Luigi's Mansion.
What's number 3?
That's a hard one. I would probably have to say number 3 would have to go to. Yeah, come back to me. I got to think on it.
Okay. Eric?
I mean, best game, my favorite game of all time. If I was stuck on a desert island, would be Ocarina of Time.
Okay.
It transcends, I think, game like Mario 64 influenced gameplay, is a gameplay masterpiece. But Ocarina of Time as a narrative story and adventure is pioneered that better than any game. Like Mario 64, cool technical movement, gameplay. Ocarina of Time, the story is one of the best of all time.
Right.
In fact, I would say, and a lot of people don't talk about this for Ocarina of Time. Like there are so many videos analyzing, going over the story, but I think one thing that I've ever seen say is that Ocarina of Time is the only game, or one of the only stories that got time travel right. Like if if you think about it, it is a time travel game.
What about Time Splitters on the PS2? I'll shut up. Sorry.
I haven't played that, so I'm not sure. But like
Don't bother.
if you think of like all IPs like Marvel or Back to the Future or other games where time travel is like, it's always about we have to go back in time and change something. But in Ocarina of Time, you go forward in time to change something. And the time travel in the game is used to tell the story about growing up, and it's the device used to tell the story. It's not the mechanic that the game is based around on, which I think is not really touched on. I think why that game is still so timeless, even though it's just another time travel story, but no one thinks about it that way.
Right.
So I would put that at number 1.
Man, you got some interesting opinions and you're very well spoken. You should start a YouTube channel.
You really should. I think you could make some really good videos.
Yeah. It's almost like Eric might start a YouTube channel sometime in the next year or so. And hey, when he does, we will plug it. We will plug the fuck out of it. All right.
This is my first YouTube appearance.
Hey, there we go.
More's coming.
This is also your first YouTube plug, and you haven't even started shit yet.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, Eric. Number 2.
Number 2. Oh gosh. Wii, GameCube. Oh man. I think if we're only saying those set of consoles, I would
Yes.
have to say Twilight Princess is number 2.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's my second favorite game of all time, but
Right.
of those consoles,
Yeah.
I would say Twilight Princess.
Okay.
Number 3. Oh gosh.
This can include original Xbox if you have a title on there that counts.
Oh, if we're gonna talk
So
Xbox.
you said though that of the games of the consoles we touched on.
I'm mostly talking about a year margin.
Oh,
But I guess we didn't
like
technically talk about PS2 really.
Yeah.
So and that's Xbox territory. So we'll wait till next episode for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I would put Halo up.
Yeah, Halo 3
I mean,
is
That's
amazing.
a
Well,
whole nother can of worms.
but yeah,
we'll get onto that. We'll get onto that next episode. Y'all stay tuned.
this
2 weeks
episode's
from
gonna
now.
be 5 hours
Yeah,
long.
2 weeks from now.
Game 3. Oh man, I would have to say it would probably be a tie between Mario 64, GoldenEye, or
3-way. It's always better in a 3-way.
Double Dash. I played a lot.
Oh, okay.
A lot of that was that was a game
Double
my
Dash
dad
was
would
fucking
play.
amazing.
Right.
Like he would play Double Dash, F-Zero, those kind of games with us. So,
F-Zero was good.
yeah.
So,
That list would probably change, but today that's probably what I would say.
okay. My top 3, in no particular order. Actually, yes, absolutely, definitely in a particular order. I think my top 3 from that generation, simply because of the amount of playtime across all consoles, I would put CTR at 1, Crash Team Racing.
Yep.
Because I've played it on PS4, I've played it on PS1,
And
I've
you know
beaten the
that
story so many times. I wrote and produced a whole episode of how to be the best at the game,
Yep.
and never made it.
Yep. I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember seeing that script.
I was crazy into that shit, and I just love the game.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, simply because of playtime and nostalgia, Lego Racers, for sure.
I'm noticing a theme.
A lot of racing
Vroom,
games. That was
vroom.
my thing. Yeah. And I turned out to be a mechanic. What do you know?
Did you guys know that we have a car channel?
Yeah, seriously, that's crazy. And then I think number 3. Oh man, this one's generic and not one that we touched on too much. But I think number 3 for something I go back to and also playtime is Wii Sports Resort.
That
Honestly,
game is really fun.
that's a game
Fun
that
party
like
game.
on multiple Wiis, I have gotten all of the information points on the stupid fucking fly your plane thing.
So fun.
I've beaten sword fighting on all the different times I've had the game on all the consoles. Yeah, that shit just, it's special. It's very simple and it brings me back. You know, whenever I play it, if my life sucks at the time, that game makes it go away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. And it's super simple. That's one of the things I love about kart racers and that game is that it is race by race, mission by mission. It's no overlapping story. I don't need to get involved. My brain does not need to be super active to be a part of it. You know what I mean?
That makes sense. Yeah.
It's a lot like watching Family Guy versus The Punisher or something, where there's
Yeah.
an ongoing story in The Punisher, but Family Guy, episode to episode, super lighthearted. You know what I mean? And I'm a big fan of that.
I wouldn't say lighthearted for Family Guy.
Well, yeah. But in terms
But
of
I get what you're saying.
in
the
terms
point
of
you're trying to make.
consumption, you can kind of turn your brain off and just enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons I love it. So, yeah, here we are. This is our this is the end of
Wait.
Oh.
Yeah, remember I said come back to me?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
he's like-
Number
yeah,
three.
game 3.
Yeah.
So, like I said, number 1 is Wind Waker. And the reason Wind Waker is number 1 is because, like I said earlier, it was the first game I played where I could comprehend actually what was going on.
Right.
I also just love I love the cel-shaded look of it. It was so bright and vibrant and colorful, and I'd never seen a game do that type of graphic style before. So it was just like, and it had also introduced me to, I've used this term before, it introduced me to tangible adventure. because I've had watched TV and movies and stuff like that and witnessed all these adventures. But Wind Waker was the first game that allowed me to have the adventure. It introduced me to tangible adventure. Second, like I said, Luigi's Mansion, first spooky game I ever played. It was like nothing I had ever played before. It was like took place in the Mario universe, but was nothing like a Mario game. The graphics were amazing for the time. The art style was super cool, and it was just super unique, and just everything about it was great. I loved it. My third, I'm gonna have to go with Super Mario Sunshine.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not surprised.
It was between that and Majora's Mask.
Oh, okay.
But I think for the time period, I played Sunshine a lot more.
Yeah. If you base it on time played, it lays out a lot.
Yeah, and I'm gonna base it on time played here, and I have to go with Sunshine because it introduced the flood, which a lot of people hated. There was no long jump, which a lot of people hated.
If you watch our gaming channel, you'll see me hate it.
Yeah, you hate it a lot. But I didn't have that like base of Mario 64 going into it. So for me, it was just a fresh new experience. And it was like Luigi's Mansion, it was nothing like anything else I had played at the time. And just the characters were unique. The character designs were amazing and just totally different from any other Mario game because the whole like Isle Delfino shit and the flood mechanics.
The island was cool. I will say that. I love the setting.
Mm-hmm. And then the flood mechanics I personally really liked because if you got really good at it, you could do a fuck ton of shit in that game. And then there was also the levels where flood got taken away and you had to maneuver without him, and those were really fun. And just that game had so much to offer, and it just hurts me how much people hate it.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I know this is a hot take. It is the best feeling Mario game of all time. I don't care what anyone says. Like moving Mario, like he controls it. Just the controls are so tight. It's better than amazing. Galaxy, better than Odyssey, definitely better than Mario 64. I think it's the best feeling of movement in all Mario games.
Mario Sunshine had amazing controls.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I agree. Thank you, gentlemen, for being with me.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be back in 2 weeks with episode 2, continuing on from the Wii. We'll get on to Xbox, PS2, 360, PS3, PS4, PS5. We'll go through the rest of it and maybe some more PC if we want to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as of for now, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next one.